Welcome to the channel, friends. So today in the Homestead, I plan on finishing up my custom attachment system for my Kubota excavator. Now I'm going to share with you guys what I've done so far and pretty much what it's going to take to get this thing done. I will also touch on the reasons why I think this is extremely useful for my homestead. So if that's something that's going to interest you, stay tuned. So far, this is what I've done here. I've laid everything out. Beforehand, I went ahead and did some blueprinting of the actual design. That way I have things on paper, dimensionally, and that way I know what I'm doing and I don't have to think about it any longer. So the part of the system is going to be this right here, this universal mounting plate with the Kubota quick attach brackets that I've purchased here. Now I have to weld these onto this plate once I get everything set just right. But the biggest factor in this is having the versatility of this mounting plate. This mounting plate's going to have 16 holes in it, and I plan on using a 4" by 12" pattern with 8 fasteners. I'll be using these 7/16 fasteners, flange nut and washer, and I will attach them to the I-beam. There will be 8 fasteners, and pretty much I've already laid this plate out and center punched all the locations for the holes. That way it'll allow me to have 3 different positions here, so I can mount it on center, I can have it back, or I can have it forward. Then I can also actually rotate this thing 90 degrees and mount it on center, left, or right. So I will show you this up close, but for right now I'm just going to talk about the general features of what I'm doing and what I've done. And pretty much that's going to allow me to position this thing any which way I want and offers me great versatility when mounting anything to the bottom of this plate. So that means I can take this I-beam off, which I usually use for grading. I also plan on making some kind of attachment points on this, that way I can use it as a hoist, as a load leveler. But anyways, you get my point. Once you have a bunch of holes in this plate, you have endless possibilities of different things you can attach to this universal mounting plate or attachment system. So pretty much if I wanted to attach or fabricate up a rotary broom, and then I could use the hydraulics off my thumb to operate that rotary broom, I could do that. So what I plan on doing with this I-beam is actually attaching a set of custom forks that I'm going to show you in just a little bit. I have to cut up the forks out of a 5" support column, and then I will make clamping systems that run along the bottom of this I-beam. That way I can set the forks at any length. Basically, I can go up to 7 feet wide with this. I plan on using the forks around the homestead to move pallets around, so I need to come up with something that's going to be lightweight and yet functional. I thought about buying actual pallet forks from a forklift, but they are just too heavy. You're looking at 400 or 500 pounds plus the weight of this bracket and all that stuff, and then having that out 18 feet on the machine is not good. You're going to produce your carrying weight that you can lift with the machine drastically. So out at 18 feet, that machine can probably hold up to 2,000 pounds. So you subtract out 600 pounds for the actual attachment, and then now you're down to 1,400. Okay, so this system here, this beam is 120 pounds, this is 40, 50 pounds, and then the forks are going to be another 50 pounds. We're looking at it somewhere around 200 pounds. And that's plenty for that machine. I can definitely lift up a pallet of firewood or a pallet of something else that weighs 1,500 pounds and not worry about it. So this is the reason why I'm going this route and kind of making my own modular custom attachment system. That way it's lightweight and it serves my purpose just right. So I'm going to show you guys a close-up of what I've done on the plate. That way you can get a better idea of what this looks like. So I went ahead and marked off the locations of everything. Basically have a grid pattern, and it's going to be 16 holes like I said, and I marked off and punched the locations for the holes. So between the Kubota brackets I need 8 3/4 inches to make it work. So that's my spacing, and I have to get the alignment right so that way the coupler attaches just right. So one cool thing of having 16 holes is that now, like I mentioned earlier, you can mount this thing on center, or you can have it forward or back, okay? So depending on what you're doing and how you want it mounted, that offers me flexibility. So the same thing here. If I wanted to rotate this I-beam 90 degrees and have this thing sticking out the machine like this off the arm, that could also be possible. And I also could offset it 4 inches. Normally you want to keep the weight of the attachment on center. So that's the beauty of having all these mounting holes to work with. I have great flexibility and pretty much I can do anything with it. So pretty much this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I kind of quickly drew this out and sketched out some of the dimensions. So you have your bracket ears there, your I-beam here, and then this is going to be the fork. So pretty much I have a 4-foot usable area here, and then I'm going to leave 12 inches for the backrest and some clearance. And then I'm going to leave 12 inches hanging off the back for now. Alright, so here we have a 5 or 6 inch structural column here that I got for free that I'll be making the forks out of. So this end right here where the flange is, I'm not going to be using. I'm just going to be cutting out 79 inches, and then I'll go ahead and rip this thing in half, and probably before that I'm actually going to probably lay out the actual fork profile on there and then just cut them out with a Sawzall. This thing right here is about 1/4 inch thick, so it's going to be plenty stiff, and it should serve the purpose of the forks just right. I might end up reinforcing the bottom channel of this because basically it's going to be cut in half and it's going to be a C shape, and I don't want it to twist, so I'm going to have to reinforce it with some 1/4 inch stock eventually. But I will see what happens when I cut this thing in half and to see how stiff it is in its natural state. So I'm going to touch on really quickly the reason why I need the forks here at the Homestead. It's pretty much to lift these bins up, okay? What's going to happen is I'm going to take out that plastic liner, and they're going to be firewood bins. So I need to have a method to lift these heavy things up when they're filled with firewood, and then be able to bring them from where they're stored, basically where they're drying, and then bring it right inside the garage and place them inside the garage with the machine. That way I can then take the firewood by hand and bring it up into the house. This right here is going to save a whole bunch of time when it comes to stacking and handling firewood. Pretty much I can split the wood right off the splitter and then throw it right inside one of these bins and then move it around to its drying location with the machine. Alright, so far I've done all the holes and all the different components, including the forks. So I have 8 mounting holes here in the I-beam all set, and I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like dry fitted with the mounting plate. I've already gone ahead and checked out all the different orientations, and all the holes line up just right. So I did a good job drilling the holes, and I'm happy with the results. So that's what it looks like with the plate, and I'll throw these on here just to show you what it's going to look like when it's done. So right here are the forks sitting on the bench. They're all complete. They have a normal fork profile, which starts at about 1.5 inches here, and then there's a 3-foot lead that goes to the full depth, which is 2.5 inches. Okay, so that's going to give me a good lead so I can scoop into a pallet and come in at an angle or so, like 10 degrees or something. That'll allow me to kind of approach the pallet at a better angle. So these here are a total 79 inches long, but the effective area is 4 feet. Okay, so I have 1 foot of clearance behind there so I can have a backrest and clearance to articulate with the excavator arm, and then that is the mounting system, clamping system that I'm using. Pretty much I'm going to put a spacer underneath here, which is the same thickness as the I-beam, and then I'm just going to basically toe clamp this thing down to the bottom of the I-beam profile. And I'll give you guys a closer look. So pretty much you're going to stick the I-beam through here. Okay, this is going to lift up just like that. And pretty much this is going to sandwich down and pinch down on the bottom section of the I-beam. I put 3 bolts on either side. That way it provides plenty of clamping force. And I will have to come up with a spacer and weld that on to the back here so it acts as a toe clamp. And that way it'll pinch down nice and parallel on the bottom of the I-beam. So this right here is 3/8 plate. This is going to provide plenty of clamping force and stiffness, and it's not going to deform. The actual forks themselves are 1/4 inch thick. So cutting these forks the other day took me about 4 hours to cut out of that structural column that I was using. Mainly because it's so thick. It's 1/4 inch thick, and I was using good blades, and it just took absolutely forever because I had to cut the profile out of the fork the way I wanted. But I was able to get that done, and I'm really happy with the results of the forks because they look extremely nice, and they're pretty stiff on their own. I don't think I'm going to have to reinforce the underside of this whatsoever to prevent them from twisting. But time will tell with that, so if I need to reinforce it, obviously I will, but I think right off the bat, I think I'm off to a good start. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this out on the machine, make sure it fits. I know my measurements are correct, but just before I go ahead and do a full welding on this thing, I want to make sure that it fits without any issues, because you never know what could happen. So right now it's being held on by 6 tack welds, and pretty much I'm just gonna take it the way it is, fit it on the machine, and then see if it fits right up without any issues. And then if it's good, then I'll go ahead and finish it off and do a full welding on it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please place them down below. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.